But I read a book by Stephen Covey, which I've read several of his books, and he says you should only do business with people that have the same values and ethics as you do. And I just felt it wasn't something I wanted to read, it was something I wanted to live. And I got all my employees together and I said, I'm going to make a decision here that's not going to just affect me, it's going to affect you guys as well, and girls. So what do you want to be? What do you want to do? Do you want to keep doing the way we are, or do you want to change? And we're going to charge for everything we do, and we're going to repair things the way that we've always done. And my employees gathered around me, or as I like to call my coworkers or teammates, and we took a stand for that. And was it painful? Yes. But I also know that as we came through that, it's made us a stronger and better company. And we learned to operate more profitably, more efficiently, and we just made sure that the cars we did fix, we were profitable on them, we fixed them right. And I think that that's also a time that we took to refocus on retraining our own. We train all of our own people. I've got 32 employees, only 3 of them work anywhere else. All of our employees in-house. And so we took that time to focus on making our business better, so when the flush of work came through, we would be able to survive and be better. So I wouldn't trade it for the world. Back then, if you'd asked me, I probably wouldn't have. But now, as I look back, it taught me a lot of valuable lessons.
There's at least one insurance company that you love doing business with. What makes that insurance company different from the ones that you don't like doing business with? So let's go to the whole panel for this one.
Well, I can tell you that is a huge difference in the different companies. Some are extremely heavy-handed. They'll come in and you can be, this happens, particularly a couple of companies I deal with, we'll be 3/4 of the way through the repairs and the person will come in and they'll cut labor on everything because they don't see it, but we've already fixed it. We've had some do it we've had some of these insurance companies do it by digital photos. We send the photos off, they call us back and say, no, we don't see that, cut it. Very heavy-handed.
So what about the good one? What does the good one do that makes them different?
It isn't anything in writing, it's just the philosophy of some of the companies coming in and listening to us and talking to us, and we explain what we're doing, and I believe that there are people that are coming in our shops are not under the same pressures because
so there's a level of trust. I heard Miles just kind of mention back to trust.
That's what it is. It's a level of trust. Some give us trust and some absolutely will not ever.
Interesting. Mike, is there an insurance company that you?
Yeah, there's some companies I have a great relationship with.
Why?
Because number one is they respond quickly. When you look at cycle time, keys to keys, because all the insurance companies, I don't know how many people are aware of this, but what happens is when you wreck your vehicle, the insurance company has to put money on, get paid the consumer the amount of the original estimate. They also have to take money and put it on hold with the Federal Reserve.
With the Reserve,
It's part of the Fair Claim Practice Act. And that money stays there until that claim's closed out. So that's why you have to put out the keys to keys. So there's 2 carriers that I deal with that respond very quickly. I don't have to wait a week or 2 weeks for a reinspection. And that's huge to me.
Responsiveness.
Absolutely. And number 2 is that we've been able to come to a common agreement that they'll either, I won't say they pay for everything I want to charge for, but they pay me what I can live with. So there's no friction in our relationships or dealings with. That is huge to me. A company that's going to take a week to come out and inspect a vehicle, write an estimate, leave half the things off, I got to call back 2 or 3 times, that's a bad relationship for me. So responsive time and also the ability for us to come up to an agreed price to be able to repair the vehicle.
Flexibility.
Absolutely.
Darryl, same question. That's a great question.
I think it's an excellent point, and we are oftentimes guilty of branding the insurers with one brand, and we shouldn't, because in our frustration, we love to talk about the things that cause us to be angry, but many of the insurers operate in a very ethical and decent fashion, and we have great relationships with them. I think a big differentiator, to sum it up quickly, would be there are those companies that come into our shops that tend to want to look at what the database provides in terms of an estimating process and negotiate a fair price for a good quality repair. And those that come in with the motivation of how cheap can I get it done, irregardless of process and fairness. I think that's the differentiator.
Fairness.
Yes. And concern, yeah.
And a concern for your well-being.
And the customers, yep. And not so much, there are those that come in as just, how far can I beat you down?
Right.
And that's the type that...
Where's this industry going?
I've got a lot of hope. While I said earlier that I think shops are probably more beat down and discouraged than ever before, I'm probably more hopeful than I've ever been. One is, I think there's a lot more legislative action going on that's pro-body shop or pro-collision repair shop than ever before.
Some recently in Minnesota, I
For
understand.
example, like they just passed legislation in the state of Minnesota that you have to apply to all the P pages, you can't pick and choose. So I think the possible repeal of the McCarran-Ferguson Act, which would federally mandate the insurance laws, is good for our industry. I think that there's a smaller, I think the bigger getting bigger, the smaller going out of business. And not that I wish bad on anybody, but I think that'll make us stronger because we obviously have overcapacity. And I think also that you're going to probably see a surge in dealership body shops.
Interesting.
Because
Why?
I think that body shops have always been kind of the black sheep for dealerships, that as sales are kind of leveled out or flat, or service or parts is, there are minimal growth. I think that dealerships are starting to look at their body shops as being a huge profit center. And so I think that you're going to start seeing, especially with some of the OEM certification programs, you're going to see a lot more growth on the dealership side. So I think it's going to be some interesting and exciting times ahead of us. Again, but I don't think that's going to be another 2 to 3 years away. But when it comes up, I think there's good times ahead for us.
Dan, your perspective on the future of the industry.
Well, I pretty much agree with what he said. I think the smaller shops are going to fade away over time. The ones left, because you can't, since the insurance companies pretty much control our business and they're squeezing us, you have to make a profit by volume. And so the smaller shops is just going to get harder and harder to do. I also agree with the fact that I believe the dealerships are going to start playing a bigger role. I think with the technology and how each like BMW, Mercedes are the ones doing it now, and others coming up, Volvo, their cars are going to be more difficult to repair. You're going to have to invest in much more expensive equipment. And for an independent, that gets a little harder to do. You got a certain kind of equipment for a BMW and a different kind of equipment for a Mercedes, and how far do you go and how many of these you're going to get. I see dealers coming back in. I think that there could be an opportunity for them. And I don't believe that they need to play the insurance game if they do it right. I think they can charge, they can sell their customers on the fact of warranties and OEMs.
They have more brand value than an insurance.
Yes, and I think they don't necessarily have to play the insurance game.
Darrell? Oh, go ahead, Mike.
To clarify one thing, I think the only place you're probably not going to see the lack of smaller shops run business, of course, obviously in rural areas, there's not a lot of population, so you're still going to see that, but again, that's kind of the exception of it.
Yeah, I'm talking about cities.
Yeah, more metro areas.
Right.
Darrell, future of the industry.
I'm an optimist. I agree. The industry's never had more frustration. I think all the legislative efforts that we're seeing are a result of that. I think in a way it's disappointing that it had to happen or get to that point, but there's good coming out of it. I think the pendulum's going to swing back. I think there will be survivors and some go away. I think that shops need to maintain insurance relationships, and they don't necessarily have to be DRPs, but that will be big. Technology will play a big role. More
Like vehicle technology and computer technology?
More sophisticated steels and repair methods, more complicated methods will cause those survivors to be in more demand. And I think for those that survive, we'll be in a very good position. I know for us, I'm very optimistic. I find it a nice business model to be a multiple shop operator that can represent a significant part of the marketplace, but still have a single point of contact. And I think a lot of insurers like that. Us, for example, if we have a direct repair relationship, we can roll out the program in all 6 of our shops and do a lot of things for the insurer that they appreciate. Yet if they have some frustration in one of our shops, they can come to me and I'm going to get involved and fix it. A consolidator can't say that, and a single operator shop can't say that. That's why I'm optimistic about our business model right now.
Interesting. I need one last